Papoose was out here handing out rings while the BET Awards were handing out awards. Yes, you read correctly. Papoose proposed to Claressa Shields in the middle of the BET Awards broadcast. Not backstage or in a private room. Remy Ma broke down. In tears on live television, the cameras shook and the audience was stunned. This isn't a tweet or a rumor. Rather, it's a public betrayal of a red carpet romance, to demonstrate that it was televised and surgically brutal. We have the video. The consequences, the phony insiders, and the tears. Someone's entire legacy could be erased by what you're about to hear. Hold on, how long has that been building? Fans are calling it the most rude stunt since Will Smith smacked Chris Rock. Was Claressa always the replacement or the rebound? With a standing ovation and a camera cut, did Remy Ma indeed learn the news at the same moment as the rest of us? Papoose stood next to a woman who wasn't Remy Ma at the 2025 Bet Awards and asked her to be his lifelong partner in front of millions of people, A-list celebs, and live cameras. The scene is dramatic, and the woman is none other than Claressa Shields, a two-time Olympic champion. He didn't wait for the show to end. He didn't merely whisper it backstage. During this period, Remy Ma and Papoose were the quintessential black love couple, overcoming everything from cheating allegations to jail bids to career setbacks. During a memorial segment, Claressa was honored for her contributions to women's emancipation and athletic performance. Unexpectedly, Papoose walked into the room with a microphone, a box in his pocket, and a calm expression that said, "This ain't no stunt." He glanced at her and the audience before uttering the 12 words that caused some people to cry and others to feel comforted. "I've found peace in you. Will you marry me right here, right now?" Claressa gasped, covered her mouth, laughed, and then said, "Absolutely." Where was Remy Ma as the camera panned to Queen Latifah, clapping, Usher nodding, and Siza wiping her eyes? Yes, she was seated in the second row, and there was a glass-eyed hush when the camera panned to her face. Mascara trickled down her cheek as she walked down the aisle. The cameraman failed to cut away fast enough, so by the time Remy arrived at the rear of the auditorium, Twitter users had already posted Rai, no loudly crying face, loudly crying. Face loudly crying, 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 face. Loudly crying face, loudly crying face, loudly crying face as she left. Folks, this isn't a show. This is the past. The hashtags, hashtag bet proposal, hashtag Remy, and hashtag Claressa Issa exited the building in a matter of minutes. But let's not pretend that this happened all at once. It was a slow-dripping betrayal encased in crimson carpets and champagne flutes. You'll notice the indications if you go back far enough. Consider Claressa's friendly interviews where she frequently called Papoose her brother and musical mentor. Or the mysterious training camp in New Jersey that she wrote about for months and that just so happened to be a short stroll from Papoose's second home. Try to conceal the fact that, especially when Papoose and Remy started to appear together less frequently in public. Industry insiders had been speculating for months that something was seething behind the scenes. People thought it was just business when Papoose suddenly took over Claressa's music career. And there were no more joint press appearances, brunch pictures, or anniversary updates. But because of the intimacy in that proposal, which wasn't fresh, love energy last night demonstrated that it was personal from the beginning. Let's discuss logistics. What is a man's planning process? Not impulsively, Papoose requested a wireless microphone and lighting cues 3 days in advance. Another source stated, "We had to cut 2 performances just to make time for his moment. It was all pre-approved." This makes Remy M's exit even more shocking because, in addition to her ignorance, bet producers scheduled it specifically because they were aware that this was a primetime betrayal that had been planned, orchestrated, and packaged. Claressa posted a photo of herself and Papoose with their rings up as the concert was coming to a conclusion and fans flocked to Instagram. The caption said, "When it's real, it doesn't need a warning ring." Let's repeat that. It doesn't need a warning. A bar, a bomb, a diggle of the above. The internet went crazy with commenters screaming, "The disrespect is unreal," and Remy deserved a phone call. At least Papoose turned Bet into Jerry Springer with lights, but some others, the Claressa defenders. However, sincere inquiries are beginning to emerge as everything plays out online. A Bet program schedule is shown as Remy's opponent in one of the memes, which shows her holding the microphone during her rap battle days. Claressa had the glow, Remy had the ghost, and she didn't steal from anyone. Another was a split screen, with one side depicting her glowing with the ring and the other side showing Remy walking away. Like, this isn't worth the press powder. A diamond-themed performance art piece. What is Remy Ma's future musical, public, and emotional trajectory? This isn't simply a couple's struggle. It's a cultural upheaval, a public relations sabotage, and maybe the dissolution of a storied hip-hop union. The scandal will get it to DEFCON 1 due of leaked Bet footage, backstage audio, and even an enigmatic text thread from Remy's purported cousin. So we still have 2 more parts to pull together. Wait until you hear what was recorded on mic backstage if you thought the suggestion was absurd. Want to sit down since the leaks came fast after? Bet staff members started discussing what went on backstage, only minutes after glittering. Yes, went viral, and Ree's exit became the year's most popular meme. The video went viral on TikTok within hours, showing Papoose and Claressa cuddling in the background while surrounded by bet handlers, producers, and a few enamored interns. The audio was crystal clear, with one voice, possibly Remy Ma. Camera shouting, "Oh, now it's a show. You think this is gone and cute for y'all?" Remarks flooded in. That's Remy. That's her voice. No doubt she was right there when it went down, bro. The video is only 17 seconds long, but it felt like the internet held its breath for all 17. Then came the second bombshell. A Bet Sound tech sent an anonymous message to a gossip blog, claiming that earlier that day, while Claressa was in glam and Papoose was rehearsing his proposal cue, Remy Ma showed up in the backstage area without being invited. BT tried to remove the footage twice, but as you all know, once it's out, it's never going back in the vault. She shouldn't have been in that vicinity, the source added. We saw her looking at the teleprompter, but she was pacing heatedly, like she knew something was up. Security allowed her entry since she is Remy Ma. The cue line was read by her. Following Claressa's piece, cue, Mrs. Papoose. Following that, she simply vanished into the crowd. Let it sink in. According to reports, Remy was aware of the proposal cue prior to its occurrence. So when she departed during the performance, that she wanted us to see her walk out. I retained my dignity even though she got the diamond and the coldest one. Is treachery when you expect devotion? One industry veteran tweeted. Then came the Instagram meltdown. Fake screenshots of Ree's private Fiona at Offbeat Remy, totally made up, started to circulate, showing her reposting questionable quotes like, "No ring formed against me shall prosper." Did she even own the account? Did the fans think it was true? They put on detective gear. Speaking of admirers began looking for the clues by examining the Papoose-Claressa timeline in its entirety. Claressa and Papoose started working out at the same private boxing gym in Brooklyn in early 2024, according to a fan thread that went viral. By the middle of 2024, Claressa had incorporated Papoose into a fitness and music TikTok where they were doing pad drills. They then gave the notorious Spinker freestyle, where Papoose gazed at her as though she were the only lady on the planet. At last, admirers discovered that since December 2024, Claressa had been sporting a gold necklace with the word "Pap" etched on it. You know what? All public appearances of Remy were vanished. Naturally, Ree's peers also had their opinions. Since that same month, folks have been questioning if this is a fair turn relationship taking place in plain sight. Ra'ali went live on Instagram and said, "I told y'all that man's been gone. You all just didn't want to see it." Something even more terrifying was tweeted by a former Bet producer. Let's face it, Claressa was crowned last night. In addition to being acknowledged, Bet challenged her to drop Remy's crown, thereby handing it to her. Meanwhile, Joe Budden hinted on his podcast that a documentary or reality show was on the horizon. Late that evening, Person made an appearance, allegedly, hinting at a new documentary series called Unboxed, the proposal that shake hip-hop, which would be narrated by none other than Papoose. His voice can be heard in the teaser saying, "People see the ring, but they don't know the road. They think I turn my back, but sometimes turning forward means letting go." Through all of this chaos, what was Claressa doing? Tweeting a single emoji and posting stories about her drinking wine in a silk robe. Crown fans loved it, but the internet came the final twist. Half were Team Claressa. They earned this. Remy had her shot and Papoose looked happier. Sometimes growth comes wrapped in scandal, and half are angry. Remy put years into that man. This isn't love. Claressa will soon find out. Karma. Don't miss it. Even Charlemagne commented on The Breakfast Club, Papoose proposing a bet. That's either genius leave all the clout or the most disrespectful breakup in live television history. We're 2 parts into this lovely scandal, and it's clear that this wasn't spontaneous. It wasn't innocent, and it might not be over because a bet insider just hinted at another unreleased clip that purports to show Remy Ma confronting Claressa in the hotel lobby after the show. However, one tweet went viral, and that person's team is savage, releasing clips like Marvel trailers. Fans think that someone from Claressa's camp leaked the audio. Heels, and it's coming next. Once the Bet Awards were over and everyone was heading back to their 5-star suites, Remy Ma stopped crying and started storming. Less than a day later, a grainy, time-stamped video of a hotel lobby surveillance clip surfaced on blogs. ALLEGEDLY, showing 2 women yelling at each other. One of them is wearing a silver-heeled dress that looks like Claressa's best look, while the other is wearing a satin shawl and silver heels. Remy's security is seen trying to keep them apart. You can't hear every word, but at one point, Remy tears off Claressa's shoe, and she leans forward as if she's daring her to swing. Someone yells, "Not here, cameras." The video then cuts, and social media became a raging conflagration. Raya sobbed aloud, and she pulled the Bronx out, and Claressa didn't flinch. The security seemed unsure of who to protect, but that wasn't even the most outrageous part. After discovering that Claressa was staying just 2 floors below, Remy tried to confront her in the lobby, according to people close to hotel employees. She reportedly remarked in Papoose's apartment, "I don't care how famous you are. The bet." After party was canceled and the Bet representative claimed it was for safety reasons, but fans knew better. Then came the cease and desist rumors, which 2 anonymous insiders said were completely false but credible. According to the same source, hotel staff had to escort Remy out of the building while Claressa's team called for private security. Claressa's camp is reportedly considering suing Remy for harassment and defamation, especially if any of the lobby footage shows physical contact or threats. According to a fake but spicy-sounding legal blog, Remy Ma could face a lot of legal problems if the footage is licensed and released, especially considering her parole history and previous convictions. What started out as a viral proposal quickly became a potential legal circus, but it gets even messier. Remy's former publicist, who was again entirely fictional for the script, went on a live stream and dropped this juicy quote. "I pleaded with her to remain silent after the proposal, but she responded, 'No, I want to talk to her woman to woman.'" The fans were boisterous, but they were split into 2 groups, Team Remy and Papoose. She carried that man when no one knew. His name? This isn't how you leave a woman. If you don't cheat and marry the side chick at the same time. Claressa, on the other hand, didn't bat an eye. She posted a mirror selfie from her hotel room with the caption, "Grace under pressure nail polish." She went live on Instagram for 5 minutes without saying anything, just letting the ring shine on camera while sipping wine. Then In a surprising turn of events, a strange account claiming to be Claressa's cousin tweeted, "Don't know the half that ring has been paid for since December." Papoose added, "Nothing, no follow-up post, no story, not a word." And that silence spoke volumes. In December, people lost it. Was months in advance. In January, Remy continued to share pictures from their anniversary. This indicates that Claressa Benwifey's program was delayed. However, while fans are engaged in combat, some businesses started to turn away from Remy. A purported Netflix deal for a rap series was interrupted, and a perfume commercial, including her name, was subtly stopped. One PR executive said, "Brands get nervous when the public views you as the aggressor no matter how hurt you are, especially when there's video involved." Claressa reportedly received proposals from a digital cover of Vogue that featured strength and gentleness, a boxing lifestyle website with Amazon Prime, and even a late-night visitor. All night long, she was getting calls from media outlets and fashion brands. Jimmy Kimmel's makeover is rapid. But at its heart, this is about betrayal, public anguish, and private choices that millions of people are witnessing. Not simply about celebrity. Fans are questioning whether this is a well-planned revenge plot or pure love, and if it is, why a stage and microphone were needed. Because while it was dramatic, went viral, and seemed to be a Bet movie script brought to life, Remy Ma is seeing her reputation and perhaps her entire legacy being rebuilt in real time from a mansion in New Jersey. She hasn't released any formal remarks yet to divert, but if Ray has done anything consistently, it's fire back. Sources claim that she has been in the studio, postponing 2 events to concentrate on personal endeavors, and that's something new is on the horizon. What comes next? Will there be a special wedding for Claressa and Papoose? Will Remy's career come to an end with a song they release? Or will this turn into a royal divorce in hip-hop? We only know that, although Bet may have shown a show, what we saw was a takeover, and this trifecta of spotlight and love lost is far from over. Was that only a suggestion? Or were we all present when one era was buried and another was born? Live on stage, under When a Man Like Papoose, Niels declares Claressa Shields the woman of my future and presents her with a ring in front of the entire business. It's not just romance. It's a proclamation and a rebranding. That's why there are flashing lights and a Bet logo. It served as a public substitute for Remy Ma. Whether Claressa won because she loved more, played the game more cunningly, or lost because she didn't follow the same rules is the question. It's your turn to speak now on positioning and public perception. Did Papoose truly move on, in your opinion? Or was this proposal just a cruel prank involving a sobbing face? Did Remy Ma see it coming all along? Or did she deserve better? Most importantly, would you have left like her or swung first in the hotel lobby? In order to avoid missing the next public outburst or behind-the-scenes betrayal, please hit the like button, subscribe for more explosive tea, and notify bell if this video left you speechless even once. Or front row controversy because, talking head, we don't spill tea here. Instead, we flood timeframes. This is just another thing that gossip spill vibe has revealed. I'll see you at the next fire.